Hello guys, and welcome to James Bonnet Photography and Models. Here, this time around on my channel, I'm going to be showing you how to use decal paper, also known as Waterslide paper. So what do you need? You need a model which you're going to decal up. You need the decals that you've made, which I'll show you how to in a second. You will need, open up my little case, a little brush. You'll also need some tweezers, although I don't always use them. You'll need a little source of water, and what I always use is a product called Microsol. Humble decal fix is sort of the same thing, or it's a smaller pot for twice the money. And then for after the model's been all dried off and everything, you'll also need some Barry M clear nail hardener, which is a clear nail varnish. Although this one needs I need a new one because this one's starting to go a little cloudy. Other brands, of course, are available as well. You don't just have to use Barry M. So we're going to be looking at how to make decals like this, as seen here on a newly painted bus. But of course, we're not going to be doing the bus today. We're going to be doing a truck. So over to me on my laptop. I'll just tell you how basic way of how to do decals. It's a bit of a trial and error process, but it's just a little quick show of how to roughly how I do it. So to make decals, I always use Windows Paint on Windows 10, but you can use Word, Excel, whichever you prefer. Once it's done, you click on there. Well, once you're on the screen, I'll show you. You've right clicked and you've got this menu. You click on print. You scale it to the size it is, and you scale it, of course, to the size. It's all a case of trial and error. You print it onto some paper called by Mr. Decal paper. You'll find him on eBay. Other brands are available, and it's basically normally for one side is more shiny than the other, and that's the side you have to print on, I should say. I have an inkjet, so once you've printed it and the ink's dry, you then need to spray some crystal clear varnish over the paper to waterproof it, otherwise the ink will run. Once that's applied, leave it for about an hour, maybe a bit longer, depending on how long it takes, and then it's up to you as to whether you apply another coat or you take it from there and apply to the model. Now with the decal paper, I must also say, as well as it being other brands available than Mr. Decal paper, this also comes in two varieties. You've got the white, which is what I always use, or you've got the clear. The clear is a lot harder to use, but it's good if you want to do clear decals. A little harder to use though, as I say. And with an inkjet printer, I think I've already just mentioned this, you spray that stuff. But if you've got a laser jet, they're a lot more expensive printer, but your common type of printer is always the inkjet. You don't have to use the spray at all, because the laser jet puts the ink into the paper. But there's different types of paper. The type I always use is the inkjet version of the paper, but you have to get a different type of paper for laser jet, so just be careful when buying them. Also, to speed up the drying process, you can stick the decals on top of a radiator. Put a towel or something underneath and let it warm up the towel, and then put that on and leave it on for about 15 minutes or so, and it's normally okay. That's what I've done here. decals are a little bit, actually they do feel perfectly fine. Just tip the camera down a bit there. Right, so here is the little truck that's going to get decals. It's already had some decals on the front already that say Fleet Support and J Bonnet, but now we're going to have the interesting ones. Ooh, might have done them a little bit too big for the side of the truck. This is what I mean by the trial and error process, but it's easily solved. Instead of having a red board around it, we'll just have it straight edge of the truck. So I was using the scissors, which I think I did forget to mention, just to cut round the decals. That line there, I do believe, might be where I need to be. Just to check. No. Still a little big. Might have to cut the advert for the group out. So this is what I mean by it being a trial and error process. Yeah, that'll fit perfectly now. It's a shame we're going to have to lose the little strip here. I might be able to find somewhere else for that to go. Anyway, so time to break out the microsole. Literally, give it a little shake. I don't know if you're supposed to or not, but I always do. Give it a little bit of a stir up of the fluid. Then you just literally just stick your brush in, dab it a bit, then just simply coat the model. Like so. And leave that to one side. Then we'll need the bowl of water, well, the source of water. Then we dip the paper in the water. Make sure it gets all in there, and you just do that. Then it's just a case of work the water into the back paper. Be careful not to touch the front so much, because sometimes it can, even though you've got that stuff on, sometimes the ink can still smudge a little bit. That's what I found. Well, as I say, there's other brands available like Crafty Paper, but I had a problem with Crafty Paper. It used to wrinkle up too much, or one time they didn't even deliver my order, so I refuse to use them now. But it's up to personal preference. Right, as we can see, it should just slide the back of the paper off. That's the paper, and then this is the decal. I'll just leave the camera where it is for a moment whilst I'll just pop this in place, because you do need 100% concentration, because you sort of only get one chance using the microsole, and then that's it, you've blown it. So right, that's that on the side there. Then just where there's a little edge or a little lip, just give it a slight dab over again, and then only on the areas where it's not quite level still, and then voila, we have on the side an advert. This one is "A up me duck," for where I'm from, Nottinghamshire accent. It's a way of saying hello, how are you? It's spelled slightly different if you're in Derbyshire. I don't know why, but they're sort of the same way as well. Yeah, that's one. Oh, there is an air bubble gone into that though, so you just have to keep smoothing it and until it looks right, but try try to avoid stretching or moving the decal itself. Right, I'm just going to finish up the rest of the decals on this model, and I'll show you a bit more of how to do it. So I've just been doing a bit more of the truck, and I'll show you again as one more recap on how to do these decals in just a second. Just finishing off one decal before I add the final one. Right, the Microsol stuff is already applied to this one, but just move the camera over so you can see it all. I'll cut the decal down to size. It's going to fit in that gap down there. We add it to water. You can hear sometimes a little fizz or hiss. The noise varies. It's just the water absorbing into the back. And just keep working the water into the back. There, that's what I always do. Now that the front bit's definitely dry, you can even work through a bit more. Just keep working it until eventually, just keep trying it, prising it, but don't destroy the decal, because of course inkjet ink is expensive. Eventually, presto, the back comes away from the decal. That's why it's called Waterslide. So you have to add water to make it slide. Just add this to the model. Oh no. Because I've got about 3 or 4 decals here, little ones together. It's just putting them in working place like that, and there we have it. We have the decals. I did do them a little bit big, so them bits I won't have to find another use for in a second, either on another model or put them as a sign on the depot or something like that. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but we'll see what we'll end up making of it. So before I get around to nail varnishing it, but it's got to dry of course, I'll just put the top on the Microsol. Make sure you do that once you finish using it, just so you don't waste any. So I've done a line on the cab made out of the extras. It's normally best to make sure you've got like either a 6x4 size bit full or a A4 sheet full. Follow them what I've done it, so then you're not wasting so much paper. So that's why sometimes I wait until I've got a load of models before I do decals for them. But I just thought I'd do this one to show you. Although to me, I find Mr. Decal paper is quite cheap on paper, and the printer I have, the ink's quite cheap as well, so I'm not too bothered. But I know a lot of you will be. So, hey up me duck, why take the car when you can bus? And then you got travel across Nottinghamshire on J Bonnet Transport Group with Nottinghamshire, England. And they've got tickets and the big line, and it says singles from £2, 2 trip for £5, and a duck tripper, and brackets underneath day rider, £9. And then on selected routes we have the Robin Hood that's accepted, and then that's what this small print here, just because I've got a star side it's in, price varies, and selected routes. Then of course the 2 red ducks, courtesy of Google Images. This side of the truck is the same. on the back there. Drivers wanted, PCV and LGV. Although I think I've got that wrong way around. I think it's PCV. PV. No, yeah, it is PCV. PVC is you know, the other. I'm sure it is. Anyway, underneath that it says earn up to £10 an hour, and it's got the logo for the company. And then underneath saying apply via. We've got Facebook, we've got the company website, and then we've got a telephone number. Then I've put a red line underneath. It's actually because the LGV and the group logo is one logo. So there's four little decals there, because I didn't quite know. Normally I'm there with the moral side, but this time I was a bit of an amateur to do it. I don't normally be like that. If you put nail varnish on, it will make it more permanent, and it protects the decal as well at the end of the day. So I'll be back in a second once I've varnished it. Right, you join me nearly at the finishing off stage now. Just nail varnishing over the decals. Make sure you get everywhere you can. Always start off with the edges though, I do, then do over the rest. I'm just bringing it up close to my eyes because I like to see light glistening off it, so I know I haven't missed anywhere. As I say, there is other brands available for this nail varnish. Right, the last one to do is the line there on the cab door. Do up there as well as painting it. We just check the other side to make sure I did the same. Just so it glistens the paintwork, that's what I'm doing it for. Yeah, so that is the truck. The extra decals, well, they weren't extra, they were supposed to have been part of what's going on the lorry. We've now gone on a bus. I think they go quite well with the 5-year logo. And that's good. This one's just a brick bus, so it is plastic anyway. These ones are nice and dry as well. I just need to add some varnish on them at a later date, because I want to let that one settle in place instead of rushing it along for this video. So, most important though, once you're done, again, put the lid back on, give it a little shake, but also shake it before you start. Just make sure that you've got the solution all reshaken back to how it's supposed to be. Right. Give that a few minutes to dry, and I'll be there and show you the absolutely finished article. So that's that. It's all dry. I don't know if you can pick that up, but you just see that little shine that you get on it now. Now it's been varnished over. This also means the decal is protected. It's not fully dry though, this the varnish, but I'm just showing you. Here when it's dry, that shine will be there. And I always like to do the areas even where there isn't any decal next to the decals and stuff. If it's a large area, I even do the large area just to put that shine onto it, so it looks like it's always been there, that decal. Because you can't sometimes, yes, they don't fully blend in, but that's where sometimes you'll just paint the little edge where the decal is with the touch-up paint, so it matches. Then you can't see where the decal was in the first place, where the join is. But that is how to put on decals, how to use the Waterslide paper, I should say. I've been James Bonnet. This has been James Bonnet Photography for Models How To, and I'll see you shortly here on the channel with part 4 and 5, which are the last 2 parts. I was going to make it 28, but it's only going to be 5 parts of A Day in the Depot, as I have big plans coming here which will be shown in the model loft when it returns in March here on the channel, so keep tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.